Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda with Ignition Time and welcome to our channel. I've been working hard on our channel since the start of the pandemic to bring all of our viewers and subscribers everything that's going on in the crazy world of Washington, D.C. In fact, think of this as another episode of the D.C. Comedy Hour. So what is this episode about, folks? It is about open warfare breaking out between members of the Democratic Party, specifically between liberals and Democrats over President Biden's agenda. In fact, tensions are reaching a boiling point for Democrats because there are intense divisions between liberals and moderates, and this has a potential to sabotage the entire Biden economic agenda. In fact, this is super important. The conservative Democrat from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, wants to postpone the vote on the $3.5 trillion bill as much as he can. And the progressive Democrat from New York, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York, she told CNN that she's a no on the $1 trillion infrastructure package in the House. And she wants the entire $3.5 trillion package passed. In other words, the liberals are saying, hey, we're not going to vote for the $1 trillion package unless we pass the whole thing. In fact, AOC did not hold back in her criticism of moderates like the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, in her own party. And she said, I quote, "You have a very small, destructive group of members who want to hold the entire country's agenda hostage for an arbitrary date. And it's not representative of the agenda of the Democrats. It's not representative of the agenda of the president. And we need to stay focused on the original, on the process that allowed us to move forward in the first place." She also added, "And so, I would hope that we figure out something in that time. But once again, I'm more than happy to vote for the infrastructure bill if we're able to figure out a way to bring it up in a concurrent fashion with reconciliation." And she was asked about the prediction by moderates that the liberals are bluffing. And she said, well, I'm happy to show my cards. Folks, this is open warfare between liberals like Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the conservatives in the Democratic Party, including the conservative Democrat from West Virginia, Joe Manchin. By the way, he's extremely influential and he has said that he will not support the $3.5 trillion price tag. In fact, he said this to CNN, and I'm quoting Senator Joe Manchin. You know what I said? I said, let's wait and see whatever we need. We need to have a good idea. The main thing is inflation. If it's transitory or not, you have a better idea. Once we get into it a little bit longer, but right now inflation is still high. And now we understand that natural gas prices are higher than they've ever been in West Virginia too. And the people who end up paying the highest is the ones that can't afford it. So we've got to worry about all those things. Now, the West Virginian senator has floated a potential top-line number for the larger package of between 1 and 1.5 trillion. Remember, the Democrats want $1 trillion in the bipartisan infrastructure package. Let's hear a cha-ching. And they want an additional $3.5 trillion on top of that. That is what Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York said. And that is what the independent senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, has said. Now, on the other hand, you have Joe Manchin saying, okay, hold up. Let's pass the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan. And on top of that, let's do between 1 and 1.5 trillion. And that's it. No, to the 3.5 trillion. That is what Senator Joe Manchin is saying. Now, he declined to say whether he would be willing to go above $2 trillion. So I believe, folks, this is going to come down to a high stakes negotiation where the president, Joe Biden, will pick up the phone, call Joe Manchin. By the way, they have been in touch over the phone. But one Joe will tell the other Joe, hey, what's it going to take? That's pretty much what's going to happen. And that was my absolutely awful President Biden impersonation. But folks, jokes aside, Manchin did say that he met with President Biden. And he said that the meeting with the president last week was, I quote, very good. But he would not say if they were close to a deal. He said, we're still just trying to work through everything. Now, folks, I want to be clear. I do believe that there will be a large reconciliation bill on top of the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan. The question I get a lot is, will there be stimulus checks and unemployment benefits in either the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan or the potentially $3 trillion reconciliation bill that the Democrats will end up passing? And the simple answer to that, and I have covered that elsewhere on our channel because I don't want to give any of our viewers and subscribers any false hope whatsoever, okay? I don't want to give you any false hope. I'm not going to get your hopes up with these bills that are being proposed by different people, although Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did propose something that had some merit, but she herself admitted, and I did cover that, she herself admitted that she didn't expect it to gain a lot of traction, but she wanted to try. I want to be honest with you. It does not, I repeat, does not look likely that stimulus checks and unemployment benefits will be in this bill, the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan, or the reconciliation bill, however big that ends up becoming. If I was a betting man, I'd say we'll see a reconciliation bill in the $2 to $3 trillion range. It's not going to be 3.5 trillion because Joe Manchin's not going to support that. And without the senator's support, that bill is dead because the Democrats need every single vote in the United States Senate. With Joe Manchin's vote and with Bernie Sanders' vote and with Angus King, the independent from Maine, they'll be at 50 and they'll have Vice President Kamala Harris break the tiebreaker. But without Joe Manchin's vote, the entire $3.5 trillion plan is dead in the water. So I expect the Democrats will come down from that high number because they have no choice, and they'll actually try and make it seem like it was their idea. In fact, I have covered this. The influential Democrat James Clyburn has said that $3.5 trillion was just a starting number and their real number was closer to $2 trillion. Folks, this is how politics works. Politics is about timing, opportunity, it's about tribalism, us against them, and perception. The Democrats going to say, well, we wanted $2 trillion all along, and they're not going to publicly admit, never, they'll never publicly admit that, hey, it was Joe Manchin who forced them into a corner and they had to essentially bring their entire proposal down. But what is going to end up happening is Joe Manchin will probably be able to influence the final outcome of the package, which he's doing anyway. And of course, don't forget Senator Kristen Sinema, who essentially has an important vote in the United States Senate along with Senator Joe Manchin. She wants this to be a leaner bill as well. As a result, we're going to see a situation where the liberals, whatever they might say, are not going to be able to get the full $3.5 trillion. And the moderates, or I should say the conservative Democrats, including Senator Joe Manchin, have a significant amount of power, have a significant amount of influence in what ends up happening finally. In the end, this is going to come down to the deal-making skills of the President of the United States, President Joe Biden, and I anticipate that he will strike a deal with Joe Manchin that will end up being in the $2 to $3 trillion range. I do not believe that we will see a $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, and this is where all the cards will end up. I hope you learned something new from this video. Please click the like button. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications. A lot of time and effort goes into the creation and the production of these videos. I have a phenomenal video production team of Joseph and Jeanette. They're extremely talented and they're super patient working with me. Thank you so much for watching. Please click the like button. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications. This way you reward me and the entire team, and it allows our channel to continue to grow. I appreciate you. Once again, please click the like button. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications. Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.